You're listening to Tucson Tech Talk with your host, Aaron Moss, on Tucson Business Radio X.
Hi, everyone. This is Aaron Moss. We are starting our Tucson Tech Talk radio show right here at the Tucson Business Radio X in the Stewart Title Studio on Broadway. And we want to welcome everyone that is listening now. We're so happy to be here. This is our inaugural show. I'm sorry, I think we may have had a little bit of a technical difficulty just a moment ago, but we're here and we're going to get this show on the road. This is going to be a wonderful show because we have some awesome guests right here in the studio. And to introduce them, we're just going to go around the studio real quick and to introduce them. First, we have Debbie Shaw. She's with Alternatives in Healthcare, Detox Therapy, and Mini Med Spa. Hi. So she's with us today. We also have Juan J.D. Juan J.D. is a project manager at Roofs Are Hot. And I was actually there when he came up with that name, so that'll be an interesting story. And we also have Daniel C. Greenfield. He is a retired jail chaplain from the state of New York. Thank you all for being here. Okay, and so I wanted to go back around the room real quick, and ultimately what the purpose of the show is to show how technology actually affects business and modern life. Okay, so both in your business life and in your personal life, how technology is affected. Technology has affected all of our guests here today. They were pre-selected for this reason. So if we can go back to Debbie Shaw, just so we can learn a little bit more about her. Debbie, how'd you come up with that name, the Alternatives in Healthcare, Detox Therapy, and Mini Med Spa? Long name.
Yeah, it's a long name and a long story. It evolved over the last 15 years. Started off with Alternatives in Healthcare. Started when I made myself well when no one else could. I have fibromyalgia, and I can't hear anything anymore. I have fibromyalgia and myofascial pain syndrome, and I spent decades trying to find out what it was first, and then try to make myself well, and nobody could help me do that. And when I figured it out, I figured it was my mission to help everyone else and tell them. So I opened Alternatives in Healthcare as an educational institution first. So for about the first 2 years that I was open, I sat in my office and told people about toxicity and how it affects the body and how detoxifying the body could be effective. And it kind of went further and further from there as I met different people that were looking for another way or another option. The spa part of it came in. And I was getting a lot of calls at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning saying, okay, I'm ready to quit. I'm done. Help me. And I was like, oh, it's not that kind of business, but I'll connect you. And the spa part of it came about where people were looking for different ways than what I had done. So I introduced a lot more technology and opened it up to the public, and it's been going for 15 years now. Okay.
Well, now, without divulging too much of information about your age, but how long have you been in business for the most part?
For this business, the spa's been open 15 years, and I was into air and water purification for about 10 years before that.
Okay.
And my husband's a chiropractor in town, so I was his assistant for many years before that.
Yes, Dr. No Shaw.
Yeah.
Right. I went into his. I was actually bringing some furniture up from my office one day, and threw my back out. You remember that day? I couldn't even walk. I hobbled up the stairs as best as I could up to his office, and I went out there smiling and walking upright. So he's an excellent guy there. So 15 years, and where's your business located?
We're at 1101 North Wilmot Road, which is the northwest corner of Speedway and Wilmot, right above Trader Joe's.
Okay. And what services do you offer there?
About 1 million of them.
Give us some of your main.
We concentrate on natural anti-aging and natural weight loss and natural pain management. So I kind of have really unique therapies, and that's what I like about my business, is you can't get what I do a lot of other places. Some of those things are a new anti-aging treatment that doesn't have anything to do with lasers, and it's called a plasma arc or fibroblast therapy. I was the first person in Arizona to do that, and one of the few that do it now, because it's new. And we have a far infrared sauna, we have ionic foot baths, we do massage, we do facials, we do lots of anti-aging.
Excellent.
So we kind of cleanse everything from the inside out.
Okay, very good. Now, I've heard about you with your Fax and Detox wraps. Tell me more about those.
They're really kind of cool. They were designed by me. Both of them are a 7-step process that they're focused on different things. The fat wrap, I do a lot of wraps for the military, for folks that have gotten complacent and they're a little too fluffy around the middle to pass their PT tests now, and they need to take inches off quickly. So that wrap focuses on burning fat, so they lose inches. I
can totally relate to that because when I was with the fire department, I was a lot of people don't know this, but I was an EMT, not a paramedic. I was trained to be a fireman, but in order to work for the fire department, you had to be within a certain weight range, and they told me I was overweight, so I needed to, and they gave me 1 month to lose about 20, 30 pounds. So I could have, if I knew somebody at that time, I would definitely go there and do that. Now, you mentioned something about the natural products. So tell us a little bit more about that.
Okay. Well, part of the name of the Detox Therapy Spa, about 10 years ago, I was trying to continue on my own journey of wellness, and I was still having some issues with pain. Everything else I'd gotten down really well, and I started thinking, okay, what am I not doing? And I was doing all really good things for inside of my body. My food was good, everything was good, but I was still putting commercial products on my body, which you absorb.
Yes.
And so I thought, okay, let me go see if I can find organic products. And this was 10 years ago, so it wasn't like it is now.
Yeah.
It's not so easy to find. And I looked online, and they were very, very expensive. They were very hard to find. And when I really did research on them, there's still a lot of garbage in them. So I thought, well, I'm certified in medicinal aromatherapy. Why don't I just make my own? And I started making my own skincare products, and people in the office would come in and say, you have really pretty skin. What do you use? And I just told them, well, I stopped doing commercial products and I make my own. And they'd say, oh, could you make me this? And, oh, could you make me that? And, oh, I like this moisturizer. Yeah. And it just kind of grew from there. And the spa part of the business came in right after that when one of my clients said, hey, do you do facials with this stuff? I was like, no, but it's a good idea. Yeah. So I went back to school, got a license for aesthetics, and started doing that. So it's a big, long, evolving process.
And still, the beauty and I guess appearance industry, if you want to call it that, it's huge business. So with these natural products, outside of the natural products, do you have any cool, unique tools that you use for your services?
Oh, yeah. That's the kind of technology that I'm okay with. The computer, that's what I have you for. Okay. My technology, I have some really, really cool pieces that no one else in Tucson has. We have a bed that's in Japan. It's a Class 1 medical device. Here, nobody's ever heard of it. It's called a Soki bed. And it's great for detoxification. It's great for pain management. It's great just for relaxing, which I don't do very well, so that's kind of cool. Okay. Our sauna, there's all kinds of tech stuff that we use now, microdermabrasion machines and all kinds of fun stuff.
Wow. And I've actually been to Debbie's spa a few times, and I've seen some of these unique pieces of equipment, and she's right. There's absolutely some things I've never even known about, but that's why you're the expert on that. So what is your favorite treatment to provide? Do you have a favorite?
I have a bunch of them, but I think my favorite one is the newest one that we've been doing, the fibroblast therapy. For people that think that they've tried everything, they haven't, because it's really cool. It's been big in Asia and Europe for a long time, but not here in the States. And it's a non-laser, non-surgical way to do skin tightening, and we can even do tattoo removal and stuff with it too.
Wow,
so,
I did not know that.
Yeah,
wow.
yeah, it's really cool. And it doesn't matter what color your tattoo is, where lasers see a certain wavelength and the pigment.
Okay.
And if it doesn't see that, it doesn't remove it. So lasers are color sensitive. My machine's color blind. It doesn't matter. Doesn't matter what color it is.
And
So it's really kind of cool.
And what's the name of that service?
It's called fibroblast therapy.
Fibroblast. Okay. Well, you're just a bucket of knowledge, but that just goes to show you that part of staying ahead of the wave on anything, you get these. You have to stay current. Now, my wife, for example, anytime she sees some new technology relating to beauty or healthcare or something like that, she says, "Aaron, see if Debbie does that. See if Debbie does it." So my wife is very, very much in tune with those, and she keeps me on my toes with things like that. But thank you for sharing all that.
No
I would
problem.
like to ask Juan JD though. He's a project manager with Roofs Are Hot. So first off, how'd you get that name?
Roofs are hot. It's hot on roofs. That's right. No, actually, when I was working in the construction business, I started as a project manager with a commercial glass company here in town. So what he wanted me to do is go out and talk to different businesses and chief estimators and so forth in regards to commercial projects. So I came up with this tagline: "Glass is sexy." So I'd go around all these places. I'd say, Juan JD, yada yada, glass is sexy. People are like, oh wow. And then so I got out of the commercial glass business. I got into the roof business, and I got into the roof business. I was like, man, because everywhere I go, everybody say, "Oh, you're the glass is sexy guy." And I'm like, I don't do glass anymore. I do roofs. And so I was in one of my networking groups, and
I was there.
Yep, that's right. And a lady said, "Roofs are hot," and I'm like, that's right, roofs are hot. When it's 100 degrees outside and you get on a roof, boy, it's like 130, 140 degrees on top of the roof when it's 100 degrees outside. So that's how I came up with Roofs Are Hot. And then it kind of just transformed. And when I first started, I was working with a group out of Mesa, and they were primarily storm chasers. It's really not the business model that I like. So when I broke away from them, I opened up the LLC, Roofs Are Hot. So
Excellent. Excellent. So what has your life been like in Tucson? Because you weren't born and raised here. So what do you like it about?
No, I was.
You have?
Yeah, I'm a third generation Arizonan.
So what keeps you in Tucson?
That's actually a really good question. And do you know what it is? It's a community. It's a community here. It's a really tight-knit community, and everybody's like a second degree of each other. I mean, if I sit here and I talk to Debbie, we're going to know people that know each other, and anybody. So it's a good thing and then a bad thing. But that's the one thing I really do like about Tucson is it's
They say it's a big small town.
It is.
Right.
It truly is.
I remember when my sister first moved here. We already had lots of friends in town. She met a friend of the family's at the supermarket. A friend of the family told my grandmother. Grandmother told me, and then my sister called me back later. Said, "Guess who I saw?" I said, I already knew what you talked about.
That is funny.
So coming from New York City, that's a really big. It's a really big change, because you can have a conversation with somebody today and no one will ever know about that conversation.
That's right.
Only the people that you tell. So this is a very close-knit community, so we kind of have to watch our reputations a lot of times too.
We really do.
So how did you get into the So how did you get into your business? How did you get into the estimating project management business?
So I got into construction as, like I said before, I got into the commercial glass as an estimator project manager. And I didn't realize what high demand the need is for, efficient, qualified, or just people that will show up in regards to the construction business. I mean, it is, I'm just baffled on how hard it is to find good, quality construction people. So I got into commercial glass. I was doing lead generation for the gentleman that I started working for in the commercial glass. And he just put me right in there, man. He just said, hey, here you go. This is how you do it. And he just pushed me in. And what I realized is I needed to educate myself quickly in the commercial business. Yeah. So what I did is I started reaching out and using qualified professional engineers overseas, and I would pay them to help me with do takeoffs for some of these projects. And it worked, and before you know it, I was able to submit these estimates for these big projects, and I actually won a bid for the Davis-Monthan Air Force Base.
Wow.
It was like my first month. I did
it's a major account.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Absolutely. So we were all. I was nodding. I saw Debbie nodding also when you say how hard it is to find trusting, reliable contractors. We've all heard these horror stories about people getting a deposit and then falling back short on the job, or getting paid full and then trying to cost cut things after the fact. Okay, a good friend of ours, he says, after they get the thing, instead of putting a nail every 6 inches, now they're putting a nail every 9 inches. The little things to extend or to make the project lesser after they get the bid. So you saw the bad things that were happening in the construction industry, and the contractor industry for that much. But what made you select contractors industry opposed to, say, like another industry?
It selected me. It's funny how the market it determines what the need is, and that was a need. But before I got into estimated project management, I was doing digital advertising sales. I was doing Google AdWords and SEO, and I was doing lead generation. And I was doing lead generation for the individual who hired me. He said, "Hey, I need somebody. I have this one." He got his first $1.3 million project. It was over here at the U of A, and he needed help. And he was just a really small mom and pop shop. And that's when he said, "Come over here. I need somebody like you." So I really wasn't looking for it, but it just found me, and I said, wow, there's such a high demand. There's not, the project managers out there, they're not following the manufacturer specifications and so forth and writing a good scope of work. It's, there's a big demand. So,
okay. And what do you like most about being in business for yourself?
The flexibility.
Absolutely. Mm-hmm.
The flexibility and being able to, we're able to do business with people that we want to do business with.
Okay.
So it really helps me in regards to choosing who I want to do business with.
Excellent. Thank you very much, JD. So we're going to move over to retired jail chaplain Daniel Greenfield. He's with us today. Now, Daniel doesn't actually have a business that he's running right now, but Tucson Tech Talk is a show where we look at how technology affects business and personal life. So he's here trying to he's here to kind of represent the homeowners. People that just have a family, a few computers in the house, may have a few kids, and so although he is retired, he still has a lot to add to the discussion. So let me ask you this question, Daniel. how are you and your wife and your sons adjusting to living in the United States and finding work and things of that sort?
I was born in New York State, and then I travel all over the country as a singer, singing with different groups and stuff. And then I became an outlaw biker, believe it or not. And then I came out to Tucson and fell in love with Tucson, and I love the area. Mm-hmm. But I still lived back in New York. And then in 1978, I accepted Christ and became a Christian. And I went into the prison ministry, and I worked for New York State, too. So I often joke that, I was in and out of mental institutions and jails all the time. And then my daughter, when I told her boyfriend that, she punched me and said, "He works there." But
anything to scare off the daughter's boyfriend.
Then I retired from the state at 55, and I'll be 70 this year. Mm-hmm. And then I retired from the jail, and I had met my wife through some friends through their ministry, and we talked, and I decided to move out here. One day, had a snowstorm in April, and I said, "I'm done with this," and I'm moving out to Tucson in 2010. And I came and brought my mom down to meet my wife, and then when we came back, we started working on bringing her here. I had no idea how expensive it was and how time-consuming. So I brought her over, and then we brought another son, and then we brought the other two sons who were coming. And
how old are your sons now?
Gian is 24. Mm-hmm. Patrick is 22, and then RJ is 18.
Okay.
And they're all finished high school. Patrick just finished college. He has his BA in computer.
Yeah.
Computer, and he does web designing, and is looking for a job now.
Future competitor.
Well, no, future co-worker. Maybe.
There you go. That's what we hope for. Right?
But I met them through the ministry, and then I fell in love with her one day when I often, she basically didn't have a pot to piss in at the time because her husband had passed away, and in the Philippines. If you don't have money, you don't have anything. Mm-hmm. And she made enough money to be able to send the kids to school. Mm-hmm. And she didn't have food. The neighbors would come over, and she'd give them half of what she had. And she'd go without, made sure the kids had. Then one Christmas, the kids would sing Christmas carols. And they would give them coins. And she got the coins together, and she'd split them up and give the kids half. And she kept half to go buy some fruits. I said, "Oh, you're going to buy fruit for Christmas?" And she goes, "Yeah." I said, "Well, you're going to eat all that?" She goes, "Oh, no. They take it down to the bridges where the homeless children live and give it to the homeless kids."
Oh, that's nice.
And that's when I fell in love with her.
Okay.
And anyway.
Well, don't get too choked up here. But
anyway, I now minister to adult senior citizens up at Tucson Estates. I teach a water aerobics class. And she does home cleaning. She cleans houses up there for some of the elderly ladies who can't really do it anymore themselves. And I give rides to people and counsel people and talk to them.
Okay.
And
all right. Well, can we talk about Tucson Estates for just a moment?
Sure.
Because Tucson Estates, if those of you that don't know, it's a huge a place where retired people go. It's huge enough to have its own newspaper. They have their own.
They have a radio.
They have their own radio station.
Yeah.
Okay.
They have
I did not know that.
3 pools, a hot tub, beautiful hot tub, a sauna, a workout room, tennis, pickleball, a full 18-hole golf course, a billiard room. Shuffleboard, a free shuttle bus that takes people downtown that don't drive. I think it's 5 days a week. And they bring them down and back. They let them go shopping for half the day, and it's free to the residents there. They also have some nice restaurants and shops out there.
Right in the community.
In the community, yeah.
Yeah.
The best is probably the donut shop. Oh. But they also have roasted chicken, which is like fried but better.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's a real nice community, really tight community.
That's a lot like the community I was raised in. It was a Co-op City in Bronx, New York, and it was large enough. They generated their own electricity. Yeah. They had their own community shopping areas, and they everything was done, within the community. They could theoretically survive outside of New York City because of that. So some of these large communities, the nice thing about it is you get very, very close to some of your neighbors, and it's an excellent area for your wife if she's doing house cleaning. She can probably do that all day long with neighbors.
She doesn't drive a car, but she can use her golf cart to get all over Tucson Estates and up in the foothills.
Yeah, they have a fleet of golf carts. That's the way that people get around this little community. And whenever I have to go there, I see at least 10 people driving around in golf carts.
Except in the summertime, then it's like the twilight zone. There's nobody left on Earth.
Well, the summer. That's another thing that Tucson is known for.
Yeah.
It's
Snowbirds.
Snowbirds, right? The people that come up through the winter. And the nice thing about it is I was just at another customer's house just there the other day, and they were telling me how good the internet is during the summer because they don't have many people connecting to the internet, and if there's less subscribers into their Wi-Fi's and their shared network connections, the better the internet is. So when winter comes around, the internet goes down. A lot of people are still trying to stream their Netflix and stream their TV, stream their radio.
That's
and
why
it gets harder and harder.
I go Xfinity. That way I don't have to worry about all that.
Xfinity goes there?
Oh, yes.
Okay. Well, we're trying to get, hopefully in the future, we'll get an Xfinity rep in here to probably try to plug things up for us as far as doing a deal down there at Tucson Estates. But thank you.
You have to be 50. Someone in the house has to be 55.
Okay.
And then they can live there permanently at the age of 18, unless your grandfathered in. I know a friend of mine, he grew up there before they had a senior citizens things. And I minister to him. He's lost both his legs. He's like 35 or 40. Okay. And so I help him out a lot.
Okay. So in your household, you have... I don't want to guess your age. I'm terrible at guessing. That's why
I'll be 70 in November.
Oh, that's right. Okay, that's right. You did say that.
People think I look 50 or 60. They say.
So your wife, we can pass your wife off as less than 50.
She's younger than me.
Okay, and obviously your boys
and much more beautiful than me too.
And we know that your boys are under the age of 55, as we had talked about. So what kind of now you had mentioned that Patrick Arroyo, your one of your sons, he's looking for a job in IT technology.
Yes.
So we actually have him here. You just want to say a quick hello, Patrick?
Hi.
Yeah. So we told Patrick we may or may not. He was able to join us in the studio today, but he is actually looking for a job in. He has a BA in information technology or information engineering.
Information technology.
Information technology. Excellent field. I have lots of resources, so we'll probably start. We can talk a little bit, and there's some people right here in the studio that he's even getting some good leads from. For those of you just turning in, this is the Tucson Tech Talk radio show, broadcasting from the Tucson Business Radio X at the Stewart Title Building studio on Broadway. We want to take this time now to just talk about a little bit more of the technology that we've all used in our businesses and our lives. And Debbie, we said that we were going to maybe talk about some of these technical problems that we've had. You said that there was one in particular. I'm glad that you had brought that to our attention about, I'm going to say one word, ransomware. And I'm going to let Debbie take it from there. Tell us how it happened from the very first email, because this is how they get you. This is how ransomware works. They send you something to try to trick you into turning off your guard or unlocking the door or letting them in, either through a port or some sort. So tell us how it all started.
Okay. I had opened up an email that was supposedly from UPS.
UPS.
I own a business. I get packages all of the time.
Yep, UPS is a great, noticeable, understandable. Okay, we've all heard of UPS, right?
Yep.
And it was official looking. Right?
Yep, it was. It had the UPS logo on it and everything else. And I get packages every day from my suppliers. And I got a notice that said one of your packages has been detained for lack of information. Click on this link to find out what's missing and we'll deliver your package, which I promptly did. And I was working on a Word document right after that. And all of a sudden, my screen just went blank and everything changed. And I called Aaron and said, please tell me this isn't real. And I took him a picture, and it basically just said, we've encrypted all of your files, and we're holding them for ransom, and pay us 2 Bitcoins. And I didn't even know what a Bitcoin was at that time. And then you'll have your files back. And I had nothing. I went into all my documents. I went into my granddaughter's birth videos, and there was a little file and nothing else. Mm-hmm. And everything was gone. I couldn't get into it.
Okay.
So
what
that's when I called you.
What were you thinking at that time? Because
I can't say that on the air.
Let me tell everyone how she was feeling, because I've known her for several years prior to that. At the time, I was working out of I had my computer shop, which was actually in the 99-cent store on First and Grant. It was then changed to the 98-cent store for legal reasons. But one of the things that I needed to tell her, I told her, okay, if it has been ransomed, the first thing you need to do is shut it off, okay? Because we want to stop any further. We want to take it immediately offline, shut it off, okay? Because we don't want whatever program's running that's making it that's putting you into trouble. We want to stop that process. So I told you to shut it off and bring it in. Mm-hmm. Okay, so that's what she did. She brought it into the shop, and I just can I tell them?
I know exactly what you're going to say. Go ahead.
We have a McDonald's right next door.
Which I don't normally eat at all.
Yeah, so she went over, she got this large thing of fries and started eating fries. She thought her life and her beauty career was over and everything. Yeah. So I was like, oh no, she's eating fries. Oh no, everything. She thinks that her life is over. I gotta help her. I gotta do something.
Always fascinating and always ahead of the game. The computer doctor is Aaron Moss on Tucson Business Radio X.
So, leaving the computer offline, first thing we want to do is shut it off. But once I started working on it, I would make sure that I was offline, and I did not do anything online after that. I looked into into this encryption, and the way what encryption is it takes, like, for example, the letter A, and it makes it a $sign or a string of characters that equals an A, and then you punch in like a word like dog, okay, and it'll re-scramble them in a different way so that it reads something. So that's what encryption does, and what they do is they make it seem like the encryption is to your benefit. We're encrypting. We found an error. Like, it'll say, we found an error on your computer, so we're going to encrypt your files for your safety. Okay? So so you see that running across the street. Oh my goodness, something is happening in my computer. But don't worry, it's for my safety. So they use language like that to get you to not interrupt the bad thing that is happening into your computer. Okay, so Debbie, you said that this encryption had happened, and then this ransom, we call it a ransom message that popped up. It was, okay. And what did the ransom message say?
It basically just said, we've taken over your files, we've encrypted them, and don't call your computer guy, don't turn it off, don't try to do this, that, and the other thing because it won't work. We're the only one that's got the key for it. Pay us and we'll give it back to you. And at that point, I took a picture of my screen and sent it to you and said, oh, please tell me this isn't real.
Okay.
And it was very real.
Okay. So what we ended up doing is I looked at this and I saw that message and I said, you know what, there really is no way to get this back. But after doing a little bit more research, I was able to connect to your computer remotely, and we found a free decryption service. And we turned it on. We found the way the service works is you need to find an original file that was unencrypted and a file that was encrypted. And then you put both these files into this program, and it determines what the key is, like what had to happen to that file to make this file. So you put both the affected file and the original file back into the same into the same program, and it pops up a key. Then you apply that key to all of the encrypted files, and then they all came back.
Yeah, I was panicking for 10 days, though, before they finally came back. It took us that long to find this decryption service. And come to find out, this was a very, very rare recovery. It's extremely rare. Now, the other option was to actually pay the ransomers these bitcoins. So how many of us know about Bitcoin? We've all, Patrick probably knows about Bitcoin. So, Bitcoin, this type of digital currency, it's we'll probably do a show on digital currency about how effective it is, and it might be where the future of commerce is going now, because it's very, very hard to trace things like that. But in Debbie's case, she would probably have to pay a couple of Bitcoins, and a Bitcoin is not cheap. No, I think it came out to like $1,400 is what they wanted.
Yeah, $1,400.
Yeah.
Because
by the end of 10 days, I was ready to pay him.
Yeah.
I was panicking. I was ready to pay him. And Aaron told me, he said, do you trust me? And I said, yes. And he said, they're thieves. Don't pay them. What makes you think you're going to get it back if you pay them?
That's right.
He said, give me a couple of more days and we'll work on it. So I was panicking for about 10 days.
I think you actually did buy the Bitcoin, but you just haven't.
No.
You never bought it? Okay.
No, you told me not to, and I didn't, but I cried a lot for 10 days.
Now, the files, the reason why these files could have, and lessons should be learned, always make backups. Backups will save you. Okay? That way, if anything, if your computer crashes or get encrypted or ransomed or something else, something worse, you could always rely on the backup. And the backup just basically means that you keep all your stuff in two places. Juan, I think you use a program, Evernote?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have a backup?
Evernote is my backup.
Evernote is the.
Well, I have some on another cloud, but that's my question: is if they get into because I use my iPad religiously. So what happens if they get into my iPad? Can they get into those other like Evernote or whatever and take all those files, or how does that work?
Okay, so if There's certain levels of we can call them doorways or gateways. Okay, so a doorway would be something to the effect like you have your house and you have your front gate, right? So if you have your front gate closed, they have to first get through your front gate. Then they can get to your front door. Front door is locked. Okay, if they can open the front door, now they have the people that live in the house to recognize you. Okay, so if somebody wanted to pass off as Juan JD and go into your house, not only would they have to have the key to the front gate, the key to the front door, but they would also have to look like you. Okay, look so much like you that your wife and your kids would have to recognize you as being Juan JD. Okay, and go into the house. So that in real life, that won't happen. But in computer technology, thieves and security, we can call them villains and cops and villains. They're always trying to one up each other. They're always trying to be on the next level. Okay, they're trying to find the holes. The villains are always trying to find the holes of where the security is. So, in answer to your question about can they? Yes, they can. It's the degree of difficulty and the amount of time that's wasted on trying to get them to that secure information. For example, let's say you're at a coffee shop and you leave your iPad on the table to run to the bathroom or something. Can somebody pick up that tablet and now run your business? Not really, because you do have a lock, right?
Yes,
you
I
have
do.
to punch your password
Yes, I
every
do.
time. Okay. Now, if the villain were smart, they would make sure they're constantly on activity and so that it never locks. Okay, but they can only get so far. Okay, at some point they're going to put it down. It's going to auto lock itself, and they won't be able to get back in.
Got it. Okay.
There are tracking softwares out there. Debbie's saying not hers. So things do happen. So you want to take reasonable amount of security for yourself, but you also want to have some sort of plan together if the worst does happen. Okay, I think it was a wise philosopher that says, think about the worst that can happen in any situation and accept that. That'll kind of like put your minds at ease a little bit. But at the same time, you also want to be very, very aware that these threats are out there. Thieves and villains, they count on you not knowing. In this case, knowledge is power. Okay, so you want to know about these. One program that I strongly suggest that everyone watch is a show that I watch. I think I've seen just about every episode. It's a British TV show called The Real Hustle. You can find it on YouTube, and they go through all the scams of how people get scammed out of their money, scammed out of their electronics, scammed out of their technology. Somebody can walk up to you and say, "Excuse me, can I use your phone for a moment? I have an emergency and my phone is dead," and they ask to use your phone. What they're actually doing is they're putting their phone number in as a name that appears a lot on your phone as themselves. So then they hand your phone back to them, and then they start sending you a text message, and it looks like you're talking to your husband, your wife, a good friend. Okay, and this good friend now says, "I'm in a big bind. I need you to go around the corner and give my mechanic $1,000 because I need my car. I'll pay you back tomorrow. I promise. And before you know it, you're out of this money because you think you're talking to one person, talking to somebody else."
I had an interesting scenario. I had a gentleman call me up and said that he just purchased this house and he wanted a new roof on it. And so I went out there and inspected the house. It was for sale, and I contacted the listing agent. And
his house.
No, but what caught me is it was a foreigner, and I first answered the phone, and he had that thick accent, and then he just started doing text messaging, everything text message. But what he wanted me to do is he wanted me to send my invoicing system. So I don't know if he was trying to hack in through my invoicing system or what, but I was just like, no, man, I caught it. I was like, this ain't right. But he wanted me to do the pay because I use online invoicing, and he was determined. He was like, send me an invoice. I'm going to pay with a credit card. So I don't know if he was going to try to hack in that way or what. But
what invoicing system do you use?
PayPal. I use PayPal invoicing.
Okay, PayPal is a very popular system that people try to hack. But just like what Debbie was saying, how she got that fake email from UPS, probably some part, if you had gone forward with that gentleman, you would have gotten an email that looked like a paid confirmation that he would have sent you to your email, because he would have had your email by that time, and he has a template that probably looks like a PayPal payment confirmation that he would send you.
And
so
then
it would look like he paid, okay, but more than likely he would have paid you more, okay? He would have said, "Oh, that was an accident," and then he would ask for you to wire some money back
Yeah.
to him, and that's where the
Okay.
scam
Got it.
happens.
Oh.
Okay, so anything similar to you happen, Daniel?
Yeah, I had somebody call. It was something about my computer was acting up or something, and I don't remember exactly, but I let them in by mistake, and the next thing I know, there's all kinds of porn and stuff that says it's in there, and that's when I called you, but because I've known Aaron back before he had a shop, when he used to drive out to see you to work on your computer.
That was the only option.
It's been in my house too.
But it was because when I lost my computer went down, I'm in the middle of doing all my paperwork for the government for immigration, and you have no idea what headaches are until you start doing that yourself online. And so Aaron came out and he got everything back. The only thing I lost at one point, and he got everything else back, was a few photos I think I lost and a few not necessary files, but that was my own fault.
Not having a backup.
Yeah. Well, matter of fact, I got to go back and do some backup and put it on a DVD or something. And no.
DVDs are great. They're limited in how much space they can. If
Right.
you're doing backups of videos and pictures, usually DVDs don't have the capacity to hold a lot of files of that sort. But you can pick up some pretty reasonably priced external drives on Amazon. I think you can get a 1 terabyte external drive.
That's how I lost the photos and stuff, is I had the external drive and it went down.
The external drive failed.
Yeah, remember you tried to fix it and tried to bring it back and you couldn't get anything back off it.
I remember. Yes. Okay. We had to break it out of the casing, and it was still dead.
Yeah.
That still can happen, but we need to make sure that that you're kind of checking up on that, doing regular.
Yeah.
If we were doing regular backups, you would have seen that. Okay. Now, this might be a little bit too technical, but if there are some geek type people listening out there, there is a setup called it's called RAID 5 or RAID 6. What RAID 5 and 6 is it's basically these hard drives that are together. And if you ever go to the Google data center or the Facebook data center, okay, you're going to see racks and racks of basically computers, and in each of these computers are hard drives. So they have a master computer that tells them if there are any hard drives that fail, and they go out with a tray and they say, okay, B9, okay, this hard drive has failed. They take it out and they replace it with a new one. And over the next few hours, with that hard drive, it's reloading it or backing things up, so it's only carrying maybe about a third of the information of the 5 or 6 of of those cascading hard drives. So with that configuration, you get incredibly fast data reads and incredibly fast reading and write speeds are very, very fast and extremely reliable. So even up to if 2 out of those 5 or 6 drives fail, it can still rebuild what it has in its favor. So that so far is as far as I'm concerned. We may get some phone calls or some other data from other people around the world that may say, "Hey, there is something better," but that's what data centers run on. Okay, but they run on that on a massive scale. Okay, so whenever you lose your backup, and by the way we were able to fix your problem with the malware that came up on your computer is we simply just did a backdate. Lots of both on Apple and Windows computers, this is good information for all of us. They have a backdate feature, so you could always go back and the computer will retrace and reload the exact settings of how the computer was on certain dates.
Except if you get ransomed.
Ransom, you see, the reason why it didn't work in your case with the ransomware is because before they do the program actually deletes the backup feature or the system restore feature. okay, and it turns it off, and it deletes all of the previous ones, and then it encrypts all the files. So it's a very ingenious system that they have over there. Ingenious in that it is very, very effective. I mean, if you want to really stop somebody from using their computers, that's exactly what you do. You cut off all of their supplies or cut off all of their resources and then hit them. It's the same thing like in warfare. There are some people, like in medieval warfare, they could defeat a city just by cutting off their water supply, cutting off their food supply, cutting off all of their supplies, and then just waiting enough time. And then when they were weak enough, go in for the kill. It can happen in real life, and it can happen in technology. It happens all the time. Okay, but don't worry. The computer doctor is here to help you with all these issues. Quick, we're going to go around the room again because we may have just a little bit of maybe about 5 more minutes left. But let's talk about your current systems. Let's go around the room again. Like what computers do you have, Debbie? Printers? Your setup?
You want me to be politically correct? I am technically challenged, so that's a difficult question. But between my husband and I, we have my laptop, his laptop. There's 4 computers at the office. So, they all run individually, and the ones at the office are kind of all hooked up together. There's printers everywhere, so you're like number 1 on my list. So there's one thing I'd like to share with everybody with my circumstances that you might not think about that you did then, is when you told me to turn off my computer, which I did, I immediately went to my husband's computer and was going to report the whole thing. And Aaron told me, no, don't go there. And I asked why not, and you had said because these people are smart. They know that you've got a problem now. They know that, you're going to take action steps, and they've already thought of that ahead of you. They're going to go to those websites, make them look real too, and the information that you give them, thinking you're giving it to the internet fraud or whatever, then they'll have all of your information, and they can do the same thing to the computer you're on. So, which I had to stop mid-key because I was on my husband's computer doing that, so I turned that off too. But it wasn't just that one incident. It seemed like it cascaded, and that they could just keep going and taking whatever they wanted. Now so that was scary.
It's very scary. And what I want to add to that is there was a gentleman who they've done this many times to. This is how some businesses take each other out on other businesses. For example, if you own a business in Tucson or any other city, whether you've made a business account on Google Places for your business, they have those Google cars that go around with the cameras. They just pick up camera pictures, and they know. So whether or not you put a business listing on there or not, it is there. It is your responsibility as a business owner to go in and claim that business as being yours. And there are ways for them to verify that it's yours. They send you out a thing in the mail to make sure with a confirmation code on it, and only the person that's at that physical location will actually get that code. Things like that. So if someone else has claimed you, now they can say, okay, your business hours are closed 7 days a week. That actually happened to an Italian restaurant in another city, and one pizza restaurant took out the other pizza restaurant digitally by just changing their hours to always being closed, and nobody doing no one doing
diligence.
Well, nobody that was in the area looking for a pizza restaurant would even go there now because the Google was saying that it was closed. Somebody actually did that to the FBI. They overtook the FBI phone number, and they put in their own phone number. And he went to like the head of the FBI or something, and he says, listen, you got to know about this. This is a major, major flaw, okay? Have one of you guys call the main phone number for FBI. And somebody did that, and his phone rang. And he says, hello. Okay, so the FBI fixed that whole thing, and then it went back to normal. And then somebody did it. He did it all over again, like 6 months later. They didn't fix the problem. So going back to what you were saying, Debbie, about they've already figured out what you're going to do. About you're going to call the FBI, you're going to call fraud, you're going to call this, you're going to call that. They have tentacles in all those other places. Mm-hmm. Okay, so we have to be careful. Always call a computer guy. Your computer guy is your best friend, and I'll always be here for you. Okay.
You always are.
Juan, tell us about your systems, all the computers that you have, and the one that you are going to give back to me today.
So I religiously use my iPad, and I used a desktop, used a laptop, and I started using an iPad, and I try to go back to laptop. I just got a laptop from Aaron, and it's just I'm just really stuck on using that because I take it everywhere. I could do pretty much. Yeah.
Okay. Hey, we're running out of time, but I just want to thank everyone for being here today. If anyone's out there that needs a good information technology person, Patrick Arroyo, we'll put his email on the blast that's connected to this show. We want to thank everyone now for being here, Daniel, Juan, JD, and Debbie for all being here. This has been Tucson Tech Talk with Aaron Moss, your computer doctor. We'll be broadcasting the second Monday of every month. Thank you very much, and good technology.